The little dwarf sunflowers that I planted are finally blooming, and as you can see, their heads are pointing towards the sun. So a lot of transplants that I had this year, including this corn, started flowering and fruiting but like before they were a foot tall. And I don't know if that's because they were planted too early or grown in a greenhouse too long, or just simply because I transplanted them too late. But I just had this problem with them flowering and fruiting before they were very tall, so maybe next time I'll just start my own seeds. When I started my garden, I used the cardboard because I didn't really have anything else, and I thought that it was going to kind of deteriorate over time, but it seems to be holding up really well. It seems to have been able to hold the soil, so I'm glad that that worked out. With like I think a cottonwood tree seeded my beds, and you can kind of see some of the little sprouts from that. I've been like pulling them out as they like kind of clump together, but I think for the most part the mulch really helped. I didn't mulch super deep. It was a good idea to mulch for sure, and I think it did help suppress weeds. I could use a little bit more mulch next time though. Mini bell peppers from my Snackable Red. Finally, my sun gold tomatoes are ready to be picked, and I've been snacking on them. They're so delicious. What's with these little spikes on the bottom? This is a lemon boy tomato. These are some tomatoes I just harvested. Most of them are red racer. This one is red racer and it doesn't have a spike on the bottom, a little thorn like these ones. So I'm guessing that I just needed to let them grow a little bit larger. I also harvested 2 more cucumbers. So today is a leaf day and I'm planting some leafy things. In all of these I've planted some Brussels sprouts, and this one I've planted pak choi, and then some kale that I harvested from the garden out back. Here I am taking my many kale seeds and I'm putting them into little envelopes that I'm going to share with my neighbors. A single cole crop plant can produce a buttload of seeds, plenty to share and have enough for next year. I'll show you how I shared them with my neighbors. These are some spearmint plants and some mojito mint that I grew from cuttings, and a bunch of little kale seeds that I put in these little things that I harvested from the garden. Spread the love, give back to the community, and share what you grow. Butternut squash living it up in my compost bin. I was curious to see what my carrots look like, so I pulled one up. You can kind of see the picture. They're Atlas carrots, so they're not supposed to be super big. But it looks like some of them still have growing to do, so I'll just leave them alone. So I've never grown lemon cucumbers before, but my roommate says that this one was ready to harvest. I was a little turned off about harvesting them because of all these spikes, but apparently they just wrote right off. Crunchy. I like how crunchy it is, but I don't really feel that there's a lot of flavor. Early morning shishito pepper harvest. 1 plant. Here's an update on my pumpkin plant. It didn't look like it was growing the last week, so I added some compost around the base. And right now it's only growing 1 pumpkin, but it makes me really happy, and I hope that this pumpkin grows to an exceptional size and I can carve it for Halloween or eat it. If you can see that, there's these little bumps on my tomato plant. Not sure what they are. A quick search showed me that it's possible that I watered it too much, and those little blisters are because the plant couldn't suck up all the water as quickly as I was giving it, so it kind of traps it at the bottom, and then it prevents it from getting further up. And as you can see, the fruit is cracked and also very wrinkly. So If anybody knows what this could possibly be, I'd appreciate it if you let me know. This is the only one of my tomato plants that has these symptoms though. I take it back. There's one more tomato plant that I have, the black crim tomato, is very wrinkly up here, but it doesn't have the blisters at the base like the other one. So here's an update video on my tomatoes. There's none right there because I took it out because I don't think I'm going to be growing it next year. There's some peppers. This one got all wrinkly. My roommate thinks that I left them on the vine too long. And this one right here is sun gold. You can tell that the fruit is really tiny, but it's ready to be eaten. I was told that they're so small and they're not going to get much bigger because they're in a pot. And I also didn't give it much feed. Fruit for thought. And the red rice of tomato is always prolific. And there's some grape and the sweet million. Peppers are like starting to get to that point. I'm so excited. I need to harvest this one because they're supposed to be like light in color. I was just so excited, and oh man, I can't wait to eat these. I'm super excited about this Italian sweet roasting. At the beginning it only gave me like 1 or 2, and now it's got like 5 or 6, and it took a while, but it's finally there. I'm so excited to eat these. My little Orient cucumber. It's finally getting another little fruit right here. For a while, it didn't look like it was gonna produce at all, but it's growing slowly. It's weird. It's like everything kind of just stopped growing for a while and then just started growing again. Here's my delicious Howden pumpkin, and it produced 1 little pumpkin so far. And thinking about harvesting it, it's like orange all around, but I looked online and people say that I should leave it on the vine for a little bit longer because it might grow more, but I'm not sure. This is my first time growing a pumpkin, so I'm gonna leave it on the vine for a little bit longer and see if there's any changes. I planted a lot of things really late, so this is the first time that I'm getting this, but here's an orange blaze pepper. This is gonna be my first harvest of this. I hope you all have been collecting your seeds because I have. So I think I'm going to be digging up some of these storage onions today because I think this is as big as they're going to get, considering that I didn't feed them or give them any adequate nutrition in the beginning. Given the conditions that I provided for them, these are the biggest ones that I have. I am quite proud of my little storage onions. My next one is going to be harvesting some of these beets, and I think this is the biggest one, so let's see. Oh my gosh, it is pretty big. Ta-da! Delicious. Here are 2 of the beets that I harvested, and I am quite proud of them and excited to eat them for dinner. Here's a picture of some colorful pico de gallo that I made with an assortment of tomatoes and peppers from my garden, including a pineapple tomato which had a lot of flavor. And here's a picture of it after I cut into said pineapple tomato, and some wild blackberries growing in the backyard. Looking back at this video and the wrinkly tomatoes, my roommate thinks I didn't water enough. With them being in pots, keeping in mind the soil was very poor, or maybe I left them on the vine for too long. I thought I was watering them too much, so I cut back. So at this point, my tomatoes were looking pretty wrecked. I am still learning. I did notice that my pepper and cucumber plants weren't producing for a month prior, and then they started producing again. So there's my observations. I hope that your gardens and future gardens produce beautifully with bountiful prosperity. Hit the appropriate buttons if you like what you see, and help build a sustainable world. Grow food, not lawns. Buy local and organic. Live long and prosper.